Welcome, I am Splash, and today we will be breaking down the top 5 MVP candidates as we stand right now. Last year's winner, Lamar Jackson, did not pull away until later in the season. Week 16, week 17, he was magnificent. So take a grain of salt here, take a massive grain of salt. That is A-okay by me, but it's a fun conversation to have, and we're going to highlight some different players than sometimes we have in these MVP conversations, especially early on. So let's hop in with two honorable mentions. We live in this bizarro world that Sam Darnold is an MVP candidate, and he sort of falls on the Patrick Mahomes spectrum. So the Vikings are 5-0, and that's great. They're tops in the NFC, and that'll put Darnold in the MVP conversation. He is out of the top 5 for me because he has struggled in recent weeks. He's thrown multiple interceptions. He's up to 4 now. He's lost fumbles in each of the last 2 weeks, and he hasn't been particularly good these last couple games, but the first 3 games, ooh, boy, we saw a new Sam Darnold. He got out of Carolina. He got out of New York. He talked to Kyle Shanahan on the sideline for 15 minutes, and he's a good quarterback, apparently. So I don't know how long this continues. It's not in the top 5, but honorable mention, Mr. Sam Darnold, Minnesota Vikings. Wow. On the other end of the team record spectrum, we have Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are 2-4, and Burrow actually wasn't great against the Giants. He did have a long touchdown run, so the only touchdown he scored in the game right before the half. Huge play. Integral play to the Bengals winning that football game, and the Bengals did come out and pull out the dub, but Burrow had just been electric. He was unbelievable against Baltimore. He made one mistake. It cost Cincinnati the game in a lot of ways, and then they missed a field goal in overtime. But he was sensational against Baltimore, way over 300 yards, 5 touchdowns, career high. He was sensational against Washington, but Cincinnati could not get Washington off the field. And I know it was Carolina, but the film was awesome. And yes, I get Carolina, bad defense. I don't really care. He was unbelievable for 3 straight weeks. He'd been playing like the best quarterback in the NFL. Took a little bit of a step back this week, probably drops out of the top 5, but he's a guy that if the Bengals turn it around, he would be a big reason why. So maybe sprinkle, just a little sprinkle on those Joe Burrow MVP futures. Breaking into number 5 in the MVP ladder, we have a running back. What a time to be alive. Derrick Henry of the Baltimore Ravens leads the NFL in carries, leads the NFL in rushing yards, leads the NFL in rushing touchdowns, leads the NFL in scrimmage yards, leads the NFL in scrimmage touchdowns. He's been unbelievable, basically averaging 6 yards a carry. These last few weeks, if you take the last 4 games, extrapolate that over a full season, he's on pace for 2,500 yards and about 30 touchdowns. It's been magnificent from the King, comes over from Tennessee. People were telling me he was washed, and I said no. He was in my all-splash team last year, the silver team, right behind McCaffrey. That's the equivalent of being second-team All-Pro. I said, nope, Tennessee's offensive line is cheeks. He's been really good. He's still doing a lot of the Derrick Henry things, and he goes and he's with a slightly better offensive line in Baltimore, a team more committed to running the ball, a team with Lamar Jackson, and bada bing, bada boom, he is back. He is playing even better than he did in 2020 when he ran for 2,000 yards. He is even better than he did in 2022 when he received MVP votes. Yes, Derrick Henry has received MVP votes in the past. Believe it or not, he did get just one rogue 5th place vote back in 2022. Henry's been the machine for the Baltimore Ravens. He has been the key to them winning these last 4 games. He got into a rhythm against Buffalo with an 87-yard touchdown on the first play from scrimmage. And here we are. The Ravens are 4-2. They might be the best team in football. And King Henry is a big reason why. Coming in at number 4 on the MVP ladder this week, we have Josh Allen, Bills quarterback. Allen has yet to throw an interception, believe it or not. He does have a couple fumbles, but we'll overlook that. Josh Allen, 10 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's been electric in 4 out of 6 games. Unfortunately, he had the Ravens game that he stunk up the joint, and then he had the Texans game that he pooped his pants on live television. 9 for 30, what are we doing? But even with those 2 performances, 2 objectively horrendous performances, he's still in the top 5. He's Josh Allen. He's always in this conversation. He hasn't won one yet. He's sort of the bridesmaid, never the bride. Maybe this is the year. The Bills just added Amari Cooper. So, hey, maybe you get a little momentum. You go out, you beat the Jets in primetime, you take care of business. Josh Allen leads them down the field for a game-winning drive. Hey, if you, go 13-4, you play Kansas City later in the year, maybe you beat Kansas City. I don't know. Maybe this is the year Josh Allen wins the MVP. Number 3 on the MVP ladder, we have rookie quarterback, believe it or not, Jaden Daniels of the Washington Commanders. Also, believe it or not, the Commanders have a good quarterback. What a time to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. Daniels, 10 total touchdowns so far, only 2 picks, completing 3/4 of his passes, and he's led the Commanders to a 4-2 record. They're averaging just shy of 30 points per game. They hung in last week in Baltimore. They beat Cincinnati a couple weeks ago. They beat the Giants. They walloped the Cardinals. And the Commanders might be the best team in the division with how the Eagles just being dysfunctional, right? Jalen Hurts not playing like Jalen Hurts. And the Commanders, hey, the The NFC East curse. No team has repeated since the 04 Eagles. Maybe it's the Commanders that replaced the Cowboys as opposed to the Eagles this year. So Jaden Daniels just been balling out, incredibly accurate to all three levels. Inside the hashes, outside the hashes. He has that deep ball cooking. He has Terry McLaurin cooking. He has old man Zach Ertz cooking. Cliff Kingsbury has been in his bag with the screen game. So I'm excited to see how Jaden finishes out the season. Do we get an RG3 sort of rookie season that he's just electric all the way through? I don't know. RG3 was awesome as a rookie. For my silver medalist, I have Houston Texans quarterback CJ Stroud. Texans are 5-1, and Stroud has been a big reason why. He was horrendous in the Vikings game. I'll throw that out there. But for 4.5 games, 4 3/4, you throw out the fourth quarter against the Bills that he was also downright horrendous. For 4 3/4, he's been the best quarterback in football for my money. He's been pinpoint accurate. He's been clinical. He's not only taking what the defense gives him, but he's also pushing the ball down the field when Nico Collins is healthy. He got Stephon Diggs involved against Buffalo. So he had a nice game against his former team. And Houston's just been a juggernaut offensively. Again, you throw out the Vikings game because who among us hasn't been flummoxed by Brian Flores? But Stroud's balling out year 2, baby. Can he win the MVP? As much as things in the NFL seem to change every year, it's any given Sunday, right? Some things don't change. One thing that doesn't change is Lamar Jackson always has this month or so that he plays like he's the MVP of the league. He's the top spot right now. Lamar Jackson, number 8 is great, baby. Lamar has been just outrageously good the last few weeks. He was even good week 2 against the Raiders. I know they lost that game. He had an interception in the second half. It was a tipped ball, not exactly his fault. I know he had the fumble against Cincinnati. Not a bad snap, just a weird play that you play that 100 times and half the time it's blown dead for delay of game. Regardless, over 300 all-purpose yards each of the last 2 weeks. He's getting Zay Flowers involved. He's getting all of the tight ends involved. He's getting Rashad Bateman involved. Nelson Aguilar comes in with the catch here or there. Tylan Wallace a couple weeks ago did a couple nice catches. And of course, the running game. I just mentioned Derrick Henry as an MVP candidate in the same backfield, but Lamar does a lot of the heavy lifting as well, just as the extra number in the game makes it 11 on 11 in the rushing attack. So once again, it's a case of it is very difficult to be more valuable than Lamar Jackson. You have the Mahomes, sure. You have Josh Allen. He's in the same conversation. Same group. They do it a little bit differently, Lamar and Allen, but you get the same result as they are the best player on the football field most of the time. They're the most valuable player on the football field every single snap they take. Lamar's in a run of just playing out of his mind. You have the play that he stiff arms Hubbard twice and lobs it to Likely for the touchdown. You have the key runs here and there, and even like the little scrambles. The escapes a sack and throws the ball away, saves 6 yards. Escapes a sack, gets a gain of 2. It's only a gain of 2. That's not a highlight. I know it's not a highlight. That is a W for him. That is a W for the offense. When 3 seconds go, it's like, oh no, it's going to be 2nd and 55. But Lamar makes it a 2nd and 8 or 2nd and 4 or 2nd and 10. Lamar does that over and over and over. He's graded out really well, just been consistent, arguably more consistent than he was last year in his MVP season. Last year, he really turned it on later in the season and boosted like the passing touchdown numbers and got his key wins against San Francisco on Christmas and then Miami the next week, the revenge game. Lamar Jackson gunning for a 3rd MVP. That's a very short list since 2000. That's Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and maybe Lamar Jackson. I predicted it last year. Go check the channel. Check it out. I predicted it. It happened. That is my MVP ladder through week 6, through the 1/3 mark of the season. If you agree, great. Job done. If you disagree, drop it down below in the comments. Do you think Patrick Mahomes should still be in this conversation? I didn't talk about him much today. Do you think Sam Darnold and the 5-0 Vikings? Oh, yeah. Do you think a defensive player, hopefully Aiden Hutchinson recovers because he probably could have been in this conversation? Do you think a TJ Watt or a Dexter Lawrence deserves to be in this conversation? What about a wide receiver or tight end? Are you a Trent Williams supporter? Maybe no tight ends this year, but Trent Williams, he's awesome. Let us know down in the comments, or you can download the U Stadium app and you can tag me at Splash. Get the discussion rolling. It's a great app. You can bet on games. You can make a take. You can say Lamar Jackson will win the MVP. I cashed that take last year. You can say Justin Herbert will win the MVP. You probably won't cash that take this year, maybe next year. You can say whoever you want will win the MVP. Whoever you want will do whatever you think they will do, whether it's this Sunday or whether it's 10 years from now. I remember I made a take. Patrick Mahomes will win at least 2.5 Super Bowls. I made that like 5 years ago, it feels like. But anyways, make a take, join the app, download the U Stadium app today. Drop a like, subscribe, comment. What's your favorite food? Let me know what your favorite food is. Peace out, friends.